waiting. I found a platform that not only allows you to make AI music, it can turn it into killer music videos like you just saw. And you don't need multiple AI video subscriptions to do it. And by the end of this video, I will show you the full Musicful.ai workflow that can turn your AI outputs into complete compositions that are 100% yours. I've been writing and recording music for almost 40 years. I began in 1986 on a Tascam Porta 1 4-track cassette recorder, and I've been making music in my home recording studio ever since. This is Musicful.ai. It has two features that make it stand out from other AI music composition sites. The first is the Vibe, and the second is music video generation. Vibe, as far as I know, is unique to this platform. Basically, you upload some audio, and the AI processes it and uses it to guide its outputs. I assume it's doing some sort of analyzation of the groove, feel, and sonic textures. This, however, is not like Suno's Persona, which focuses mostly on vocal identity and consistent musical generation. The Vibe influences the musical character of the track. I uploaded a track from Black Swan, the 2021 album from my band, Push Button Press, that you can hear and purchase on Bandcamp with a link in the description. I'm not sure what's going on under the hood, but it did manage to capture the feel of what it was given, and I highly recommend you taking advantage of this special sauce. In general, Musicful.ai has all of the features that you would expect from a professional AI music generation site. It has a nice categories feature that can assist you in finding the right prompts that you need to get the outputs that you'd like. I also like this little tab in the lyrics section where you can place the most common song structure tags. It beats pasting them and it saves time. Of course, it has stem separation, and it separates your song into about a dozen different stems, which you can download as one large zip file. However, what I've noticed is that if an element is not present in the track, it will be downloaded as a blank file. You can select the individual tracks and download them individually, but it will not combine them into a single zip file. This is a feature I'd be looking for in the future. Also notably absent is a tempo lock feature that is greatly needed if you plan to put your tracks into a DAW and align them to a consistent tempo. Musicful.ai's song generation is quite good. So good, in fact, that after I pasted in my lyrics and I put my prompts in, I ended up keeping the very first generation it created. It was a keeper. And if you're liking the look of Musicful, the affiliate link is in the description. Use it, and in your next recording session, all of your instruments will be in tune, and at least in one take, you'll think, wait, that was actually good. Now to recreate this track, I imported the stems into Ableton Live and settled on 83 BPM rather than the original 81.5. After some tedious warp marker tempo repair, I began with the percussion. The groove leaned into something tribal, so I built a drum rack using djembes, tabla, and swapped out a spoon-like percussion for finger snaps, then panned them all for a bit of spaciousness. For the acoustic drums, I once again used Addictive Drums too, but I also added an additional snare with reverb to give the chorus a little bit of lift. The guitars were recorded fresh, and I changed the parts when what I was hearing in my head sounded better than what was on the track. The lead guitar was played on a Fender Jazzmaster, and the amp I used was a Fender Super Reverb, which was mic'd with a cheap $99 MLX R144 ribbon microphone, going into a Warm Audio DB12 500 series rack preamp, then into a DBX 560A compressor. I also used my trusty Sennheiser E609 dynamic mic, which went straight into the SSL12 interface, recorded at 32-bit 48K. For pedals, I used an MXR Timmy transparent overdrive into an Analog Man King of Tone for a clean but harmonically rich sound. For some dirt, I tracked the Epiphone Dot through a $30 TC Electronics Rusty Fuzz. And then finally, my Paul Reed Smith CE22 with Gibson Modern Humbuckers, going through that Timmy overdrive again into the King of Tone, but at the end, I went through a Rat Distortion for a smooth, heavy rhythm layer. As usual, the synthesizers were the hard part. Just like in Suno, Musicful struggles differentiating between affected guitars and synthesizer textures in its stems. So to rebuild that pad sound, I decided to divide it into two separate layers, a top octave and a bottom octave. On the top octave, I used Zebra 2. On the bottom octave, I used an instance of Contact with the Vox Humana style patch, made famous by that 1980 song Cars. After that, I decided to add some orchestral weight. I used another instance of Contact and just added a string ensemble from its factory presets. I then doubled that up with Project Sam's free orchestra. After getting it sort of close, I went back and re-edited the parts so they made more musical sense. AI can be all over the place with this sort of thing, but I've gotten pretty good at fixing it. I then exported all of the audio I had recorded into Ableton Live and imported it into Studio One, where I recorded my vocals with a Neumann TLM-102, and then I mixed. And if you're into using AI as a creative tool instead of just a shortcut, subscribe. It's what I do, make music. Now came the fun part, making the AI music video. I chose the narrative video option and uploaded a high-quality image of my main character. You can only use one reference image, which is limiting, but the character does stay very consistent. Both the lyrics to the song and the video were inspired by Charles Bukowski's story poem, Black and White. I created a full narrative description for the video and refined it with an LLM until the mood and the visual direction felt right. Musicful builds the video in 5-second scenes and suggests visuals and prompts for each scene, but you really should edit those descriptions as they are very short. Better prompts almost always mean better results. Each story image costs about 28 credits, while generating the final 5-second video clip costs 200. It's smarter to perfect the still image first before generating the video scene. Otherwise, you can burn through your credits very quickly. Once the scenes are ready, rendering the video file only costs 10 credits, and it removes the watermark. I did mine in 1080p, but you could probably do it in 720p and it would still look great. Also, try to be organized with your workflow of your video. You'll save time later on when you're doing edits in your favorite video editor of choice. If I wasn't happy with the output, I very quickly realized I shouldn't redo anything. Just keep it, because you never know what might be useful later. The AI imagery is impressive overall, although you will sometimes see some strange motion or physics issues. I exported the whole video when I was done and brought it into Final Cut Pro, where I did the edits, visual effects, and transitions to finish it off. Okay, final thoughts. Musicful not only does audio, it does video, and there are times when Suno can feel predictable. Musicful can sometimes bring back a little bit of that early AI exploratory mojo. However, Musicful is not a Suno replacement. It's a different thing entirely, and it might just shake you out of a rut. And you can create music videos too. Plus, there's nothing stopping you from uploading a Suno track and making a video. And the idea that you can make a music video for the cost of going out to dinner? That's some pretty powerful stuff. Oh, and just like Musicful, there's an affiliate link for Suno in the description. Use it, and the Suno gods will smile upon you. Now, with all that said, here's the video for Black and White, inspired by the great American poet Charles Bukowski, seeded with Musicful, and performed and recorded by yours truly. must have been the door. Housekeeping, keeping houses down the other hallway, down the other stairs. If I could open up this window, I swear I would find what city I am in this time and can I fly? Can I fly? Can I fly? If you stuck around and watched the whole thing, thank you. If you head over to the Musicful site and search for Pro Audio for Musicians, I have both versions of the song Black and White on my playlist. And if you want to see more of how you can create AI-generated music and have it enhance your creativity, click on this video. I'll meet you over there.